Hello, everybody. Hi, I am your host, Jessica Koch, and this is yet another Profound Professionals. We have been thrilled and excited over the last 5 years to have the honor of featuring amazing industry experts from all over the world. And today, our guest with us is Lynn Teatro, and she is the resource that she really needed when she was 17. Welcome today, Lynn.
Thank you so much. I was happy to be here.
Tell us about that. How did you become this resource you wish you really had it when you were 17?
Oh my gosh. I was raised on a farm, 150 acres. It was my stepdad's family farm, and he loved the farm. Like it was just his passion.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as he was concerned, the farming life was the only life you should have. And my mother fell lockstep in it with it. So I was raised to grow up and get married to a farmer and have farm children. And any other aspiration was, well, you don't need to do that. Or, yeah, no, those are, those highfalutin people, they aren't smart enough to wear rubber boots in a barnyard. That type of attitude with regards to professionals. The only role models I had were teachers and nurses. And that was for other people. It was okay for other people to do that. But, you just needed to be a farmer or a farmer's wife. So 2 weeks out of high school, I got married and had 2 kids, was a mechanic, not a farmer. And I wasn't happy. I was not happy. So one summer I decided, I made a pact with a friend of mine. We worked at the same place, and she worked and I looked after her kids, and I worked and looked after her kids so that I could save up enough money to go to college. And the night before I was to sign up for college, my husband and I had a fight, and that fight lasted until 7 o'clock in the morning. And my stepdad came at that time to tell us that my brother had been in a diving accident and broke his neck. So that kind of kiboshed any plans that I had. One of the things that I learned from Dale's accident was that life can turn on a dime. You have today, you have this moment, and that's all that life is going to promise you. So if you want to make changes, you're going to have to make them now. So I ended up separating from my ex and working in women's wear, but wasn't satisfied with that either. So I went through a battery of tests and found out that I could be more than a farmer's wife. I could be a doctor. I could be a lawyer. I could be a psychotherapist. The list of career paths that I could have had was just phenomenal. I was intelligent. It was the first thing that ever told me that I was actually intelligent. So like the intelligent person I was, I went out and got drunk because it was just overwhelming for me.
Well, that's one thing to do.
That's one thing to do. But took another year, and I was driving by my high school, and the car just decided on its own that it was going to go into the parking lot there. I went into the school, asked how I could get into university. And they sent me to the guidance counselor, and he said, "We're in the semester system now. How about you come back to school and upgrade and complete your grade 13 and apply as a graduate?" And I did. Back in with the 17 and 18-year-olds. It was like the town I lived nearest was population 1,000. So we didn't have any resources no adult education programs. It was, you could go to high school. And fortunately, there was another young woman there at the same time. So we were in it together.
Oh, that's
nice. And I was 30, had 2 kids. And my nickname when I was in high school the second time was the Seagram Special. So it was, I had a lot of fun. It certainly was better accepted. Didn't get the teasing and the bullying that I did when I was in public school or high school. So it was I was one of the cool kids then. So that next year I applied to university, took psychology, did my 3-year undergrad program in 23 months.
Wow. That's pretty lickety split.
It was, but I was driven, and it was, and Then I found out in my first psychology course that 25%, 30% of students at that time were dropping out of high school. Or out of secondary school, so post-secondary school. Yeah, my brain's still on weird things. Yeah, post-secondary school. So that shocked me because I figured that there was a process. And I mean, I phoned from an airport to find out whether or not I'd gotten in before I got onto the plane. So
Wow.
So it was, I was excited, and I figured everybody came in that way, but I guess not. And now that dropout rate is 35 to 40%, and the 40% is in the STEM programs.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. That crying you hear in the background, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing live is not a child. It is her lovely, well, it is sort of a child. It is her beautiful cat. And we just want you to think that we're ignoring. It almost sounds like a baby cry, poor baby.
No, baby's 18 years old and deaf and blind and just cries for attention because she's neglected so badly.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now.
What I'm doing, I am retired. I spent my career in the social service field, frontline in women's shelters, working with elderly, working with kids, and I even spent 9 months in prison in the sexual behavior clinic at Warkworth. So had a varied career and loved helping people. And even though I'm retired, I still like helping people. And I decided, well, I've probably got about 20 years left of my life. People don't live long in my family, so what am I going to do with it? And that's what I landed on, is helping youth to thrive in post-secondary education, to reduce that dropout rate, to help youth find the path to be the person that I was when I was 17. Instead of getting engaged to get married, I figured that I should have been coached to better paths in life. Not that marriage is bad. I tried it 3 times, but no, it's, you need to have a life that you can live fully rather than one that is diminished because of habits of others.
Yeah. So, how are you working with others at this point? I know you're retired, but how are you working with others at this point?
I am introducing parents right now to professionals who help youth learn to adult, learn to look after themselves, learn the basics of adulting, essentially, to study harder, not smarter, not harder. Lots of people who have great resources to help youth. And the area that I'm particularly going to be working in is kind of life coaching for teens and young adults. Help them find themselves, help them find out that they have promise and potential and their own superpowers.
And what's youth to young adult to you? Give us an age bracket, 11 to 26, or like what's the age you think?
I'll start at 13, and if they're still feeling that way when they're 30, I'll take them on too.
Okay, so 13 to 30, that's a good range.
Yep.
Okay, and you're helping them kind of get their footing as an adult, their path, the resources, things that they need to take their life to the next space. Yeah. Now, how are you doing this? Are you doing this virtually or in person or a hybrid of both, or what does that look like?
Well, I am looking into partner with a couple local agencies that work with youth.
So that will be in person.
It'll be in person, but I will also do online.
Okay. And physically, where are you located, since you are doing some in-person things?
In Peterborough, Ontario.
Okay. So another one of my amazing Canadian friends.
Yes.
So now, is this in group or one-on-one or a combination of both?
Combination of both.
Okay.
I know that when I was that young, I was not good at speaking up in class, let alone in a group such situation where people are like kind of poking and prodding. So I know that I needed some one-on-one, but I'll be starting with them where they need to be starting. So it will grow into 2 groups situations, and I will be offering some courses too that will be open to the public, that they don't necessarily need to be enrolled in one of my programs. So
like an online course, like a click and buy, so like video based, or
they'll start out being live, but they will be click and buy later on.
Eventually down the road. And a book is in the forecast down the road too.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think my life story needs to be told. It's been crazy.
So before I ask you some of the next questions, can you share with us anything else about yourself personally or your business that you wanted to share?
Well, I was anxious. I used to sing in competitions and did really, really well. And then all of a sudden I lost my voice. I couldn't sing anymore. I did it one more time, gave it one more try, and I trembled so badly. It was horrible. So yeah, that's why my business is called My Voice Counts too, is that part of it is I was afraid of standing up, saying my name in a room, doing public speeches. So I've got my voice back, and I want
to hear it.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's one tip you could give our listeners who are listening right now who might have the same challenge you did?
Everyone has a superpower. Everyone.
Yeah.
And there's many ways of finding it. And you can start by going on to a website called 16personalities.com, and it's a Myers-Briggs type resource, and it'll help you find your superpowers. The one I highly recommend costs money. It's not for free. I have a friend who does Colby inventories, and I did it last year with her and found out that I'm not lazy. I'm just an ideas person and generate ideas like crazy and get things rolling, and then sometimes just kind of drop the ball and pick up another one.
Yeah.
So, and that explains why all my report cards from grade 1 on says Lynn doesn't complete her homework.
That's funny. So your suggestion is to find out what your strengths are and lead into them. So anyone listening right now, and use some tools or resources, and list your own strengths and ask people who are close to you and who really love you and who'll be honest, and ask them what they think your strengths are, and then also use the tools similar to what Lynn had suggested. And we'll make sure, if we can, we'll get those links for you so that we can include them in the article that we share about Lynn with this. Now, one of the other reasons we started this Profound Professionals 5 years ago is because I love featuring people like you, Lynn, but I also love making sure we get causes out there and awareness to the world and spread that as far as we can. You never know who might share this, and you never know who might need to be reminded of a cause or learn about a new one or share it with someone else who needs that resource. So what's the cause that you care about?
I'm on the board of directors of the Council for Persons with Disabilities. My brother had his diving accident. He was broken. He broke his neck, and he was a fully disabled quadriplegic for 19 years. He got to live long enough to see his 2-year-old and 6-week-old grow up to be wonderful young adults. And my sister was born with hydrocephalus, and she lived to be 2.5 years old. So I'm very well versed in the impact that disability can have on people and their families and their community. So yes, it's very near and dear to my heart, and I want the world to be accessible for everyone, because we're only temporarily able-bodied, and then life, illness, aging happens, and we slowly lose that. I mean, if you wear glasses, you're one of us.
I love the perspective the world has on individuals facing these challenges. Is they just their abilities are different than ours, and sometimes in really great ways. I mean, the fantastic things that people with even autism are capable of, things that my mind couldn't do. are unbelievable. So it's interesting, just like people who don't have sight or good sight often can hear better, or have other heightened senses. It's fascinating to me how the brain works, where it'll just strengthen something else if there's a challenge in another space. So I think we're all just a world of people with abilities that are just a bit different from others. But I love that there are resources to help families, for those who struggle a bit more than everyone. So that's a lovely cause to share, and thank you for doing that with your time, Lynn.
Well, it's a group of people. The only board meeting often has 5 dogs underneath the table.
Well, the more the merrier. They may contribute, I'm sure, in some way.
Oh, yes. And I have petting privileges for most of them.
Oh, that's good. So one of the other things people know about me and who follow the show are I am just a crazy about books. I'm constantly trying to find books that inspire me, that inspire my life, that help improve my life, or that help grow my business. Books that help me reach my goals financially faster, or be a better leader, or just improve myself from a business standpoint also. Do you have a book or books that you'd like to share with us?
I really like Simon Sinek's Start With Why.
Mm-hmm.
It's written for business people. I think that there needs to be one for youth.
Mm.
Why are they here? What is their purpose? What is their passion? What is their power? And if they find out what their purpose is in life, then they may not get rich, but they'll live happier lives, contributing to whatever life they can. So
That's a great idea. Kind of the concept of the why, starting younger.
mhm.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old's always already asking me questions about her future, and what is she going to do with it, and what should she do with it, and it's an interesting. I think the parenting handbook should come with some sort of thing to help help your child find that path. So definitely something they left out of the recipe for raising amazing humans.
Yes. Actually, the report from the Colby Index is as close to a handbook as you can get.
Yeah.
Once you've got your score, it will itemize, I think it's 1,600 careers, starting with the one that most fits your profile.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
The
But there's
interesting
also,
thing about that, can't those change over time though too? Because they're still not really the person that they are all the way. They're still developing in so many ways, especially boys, I think. They're
yes, but when you look at my profile that said that Lynn doesn't finish things, that I'm a good starter, but not a great finisher, that was from, like I said, grade 1 for my whole life. I didn't unlearn that. That stuck with me. And the Colby Index is pretty solid in terms of being who you are and what you're capable of. And they even do it with toddlers.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been really exciting and fascinating, Lynn, and it's been awesome to have you here.
Well, it's been great.
Learned a lot of things about you and what you're
Yeah.
up to and how you're making an impact on the world. And if you're watching, we thank you. And if you're sharing, we extra hug you. We love it when you just never know who's listening, or when you share it with someone, who might it land upon in their feed, and they could really, really use this information today. So if you're a profound professional, please reach out to us. We'd love to feature you on an upcoming show. But more importantly, you could be someone's hero and ours, and you could introduce us to someone who is doing something great in the world and who really needs to be a guest on our show. So before we say goodbye, Lynn, I love to ask our guests to share one final piece of information or inspiration. What's your final thought for us?
I'm just going to reiterate, life can change on a dime. It's your life. You need it to live it your best way.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. That's beautiful. All right. So push the share button and tell us what you thought about this and then get going. You heard her. Live your best life. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Turning on a dime sounds like it could happen in a hot second. So we want you to live your absolute best life. And so, as always, I am Jessica Koch, your host of Profound Professionals. And until next time, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.